10 long years passed, with neither side gaining the upper hand.
For the Trojans were highly skilled defenders, well versed in withstanding sieges.
Paris hid well behind the walls, far from the battlefield.
Helen was blamed by many.
But their stares and accusations were nothing compared to the blame she laid upon herself.
Cracks began to show.
Slowly, an inescapable distance grew between the two of them.
She found herself trapped, unable to find a way to return to her husband, far below on the battlefield.
Menelaus would glance towards the city and catch a glimpse of his young bride.
And his heart was torn apart.
The battle wore on, one miserable day after another.
Discontent and doubt filled their hearts.
There was no way either side could win.
Achilles would often fly into a rage, furious at Agamemnon for staying clear of the battle.
Both sides grew more desperate.
Raiding parties were sent out daily to strip the coast and surrounding countryside for supplies and riches to feed Agamemnon's warriors.
All who stood against them were slain or sold into slavery.
And none were better at taking a city than the young Prince Achilles.
Even his name was enough to strike terror into the hearts of defenders.
But not everyone cowered before him.
Far to the north, he almost met his match.
A woman from the north.
Her name was Briseis, the princess of a small city-state.
When all the soldiers defending their wall had fallen,
she drew up her father's sword and faced the Myrmidons alone.
But she suffered a fate worse than death.
Briseis was given to Achilles as a slave, a prize for the many victories he had won.
But Aphrodite had plans for her as well.
Some weeks later, Odysseus learned of Agamemnon making a slave of a Trojan priest's daughter and torturing her father.
Agamemnon refused to release the girl.
Achilles would often fly into a rage, furious at Agamemnon for staying clear of the battle.
Briseis watched him silently from the shadows.
She saw a different side to the relentless warrior.
Yet still she prayed to the god Apollo that he may avenge her murdered family and the people of Troy for what Achilles and his allies had done to them.
I pray to you, Apollo, Lord of Light, cast down your vengeance upon those who have plundered our lands, murdered our children. Teach them what it is to bring death to the innocent. For you are the Lord of many things, not only light, truth and prophecy, but also the bringer of plague. Please, I ask you as a devoted servant, strike them down.
Little did she know how soon her prayers would be answered.
Apollo's vengeance was without bounds.
Apollo raised a deadly fog that crept silently into Agamemnon's encampment and struck down all it touched.
Within a matter of days, their army was almost halved.
Soldiers were dying in their thousands.
But the mysterious fog never entered the walls of Troy.
So Achilles withdrew his army from the battlefield. With Achilles refusing to fight, the tide of battle turned.
The other kings demanded an audience with their leader.
Are you really so set on keeping the girl? It is my decision to make! You do know her father is a high priest in Apollo's temple. This is his doing. Are you afraid, Odysseus? Afraid of the gods? Are you out of your mind? Be mindful of your place, King of Ithaca. It's a good thing that you're so useful to our cause.
Just remember that, my lord.
The Trojans were growing ever more confident with every passing day.
And Hector of Troy was proving to be a terrifying opponent.
They were losing the war.
Agamemnon agreed at last to return Briseis to the warrior.
And he returned to the battle once more.
But in his heart, he knew something was going to go wrong.
The goddess Thetis visited her son to beg him not to continue the fight. She knew he was doomed if he stayed, but he wouldn't listen.
She journeyed to the Forge Master of the Gods to beg a favour.
She'd brought him armour like no one had ever seen before. The armour of the gods.
Then came the fateful day when Hector and Achilles came face to face.
Achilles! Come and die!
Achilles dragged Hector across the battlefield.
He took out his fury on the fallen warrior's corpse.
Every morning, Hector would be restored to her original beauty by the gods to mock him.
Achilles' grief began to consume him.
Even Briseis could not release Achilles from the depths of his grief.
Until one night, Odysseus brought him an unexpected visitor.
Priam, the old king of Troy.
They talked long into the night before Achilles agreed to let him return Hector to the city in peace.
The fighting ceased for 10 days to honour the dead.
Achilles called Odysseus to him one evening.
To drink to old friends lost.
And to make him a promise.
Come, friend. Even you one day must die. Even Patroclus died a far better man than us. And look, you see how handsome and powerful I am. The son of a great man, the mother who gave me life, a deathless goddess. But even for me, I tell you, death and the strong force of fate are waiting. There will come a dawn, or sunset, or high noon, when someone will take my life in battle too, flinging a spear perhaps, or whipping a deadly arrow off their bow. I will take the long journey to Hades before this war is over. No one, not even I, can escape it, for this is the will of Zeus. I have known it since I was a boy. The knowledge of it drove my mother to abandon our family. She could not bear to watch on, but I am ready for it. I throw myself into the heat of battle, where the fight is frenzied and full of passion, for I know that every day may be my last, and I will not shy away from it. I want Briseis married to one of the generals, a man of your choosing, a kindly man, a cautious man, one who will care for her as I wish I could. When I die, and I will die here on this very field, Agamemnon will take her if she is unmarried. She has suffered enough. She will rail against it as well she should, but it will keep her free from that tyrant. Give me your word on it.
You could simply walk away from this madness. Take her with you.
I can't walk away. You know my destiny as well as I. Zeus ordained that I should die beneath these walls, and he always has his way. Will you do as I ask?
Of course. I swear it will be done, though she will hate us both for it.
And the battle continued with renewed ferocity.
The next morning, Odysseus stood by the young prince's side in an effort to protect him from the fate they both knew was coming.
Another day of carnage began, and the Trojans were pushed almost to the point of defeat.
So Paris, who had hidden behind others throughout the entirety of the battle, was called for the last stand.
and Apollo saw a chance for some sport.
The god of light guided the boy's aim, and it was true.
No!
And Paris was shot down where he stood.
Priam ordered the alarms sounded.
All fell still. The last prince of Troy had fallen. The two armies stood as statues as his father, the king, opened the gates.
Though it brings me great pain to utter these words, this foolish boy has brought us all to nothing but devastation. You do with him as you will. We will give you time to honour your dead.
And what of Helen of Sparta? Will you return her?
To her husband, my once dear friend Menelaus, yes. To you, Agamemnon, no. For I share her fears that you hold too much hatred in your heart for her.
You are an old fool.
We are both fools. But I will not place an innocent girl in the hands of a tyrant, no matter what the cost.
She was not so innocent when she stole away with your son.
She was young and in love, and is not that what this big outrageous waste of life is all about? And if you are so driven by revenge that you've forgotten what love is, Agamemnon, if you had any compassion at all, we could have resolved all this without the need for war.
I'll hear no more of this. Strike him down!
No, you won't. He has declared a period of mourning and given you your trophy. We will honour the gods by shedding no more blood for 10 days.
You do yourself great honour, Odysseus.
As to you, Priam, you've been a worthy opponent.
In better times, I would have been proud to have called you a friend.
If only the fates had been kinder.
I cannot let him have her, Odysseus.
I know. I doubt he would spare your city even if you did.
Tell Menelaus I am sorry. Sorry I took Paris back in. Sorry I sent him to visit Sparta. Sorry for everything.
He may not want to hear it right now. If I live to see peace again, I will give him your message. You there! Help me return the Prince of Troy to his city. For good or ill, we must bring this senseless slaughter to an end.
Achilles was laid to rest at sea.
And there he returned to his mother's arms once more.
Following 10 days of mourning, the war continued.
Both armies were growing weaker with each passing nightfall.
Agamemnon would not relent. He drove his armies on without mercy.
Those that didn't do what he ordered were put to the sword.
Until Odysseus devised a way to hopefully end the war.
I have an idea. Something to bring an end to this madness once and for all. A tribute fitting for the gods. A giant horse. But how best to use it?